Hello and welcome to the Signal BiZHUB. It's Friday, it's 9:30. Thank you for joining us. You're welcome to come on in, pull up a chair, make yourself a drink, rummage through the cupboards, look for a biscuit and get yourself ready because we're going to be starting the BiZHUB very soon. We'll be talking to our guests. Before that, we've got a few things that we're going to intro just to make sure, again, as always, that I am not talking to myself. Please say hello in the chat. Good morning. Good morning, Sheila. Good morning, Emma. Lovely to have you here. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? How's your week been? Has it been good? Productive? Lots on? Lots to plan for? I know mine has. Good morning, Lee. Lovely to have you here. Welcome to a new member. It's great to see people being proactive about their business, especially looking forward into 2021 and having a smile on their face and going, well, it'll be challenging, but I relish the chance. Good morning, Sue. Good morning, Dane. Good to have you here. I'm glad you're excited. We're excited to have you. Fantastic. Just pop in the chat, Dane, what you do, whereabouts you're based, and roughly what you do. Just a little flavour, so we get a little bit of an insight in yourself, Lee. If you want to do that as well, it says print and design on your name. Just maybe pop your website in there, and let's see what it is. I think we've spoken previously. We've had a meeting before, so pleasure to make your reacquaintance. Morning, Dave. Mr. McKinney. Everybody stand by your beds. Dave McKinney's in. Whoa. Hello, Gary. Lovely to have you. We're going to crack on. We're going to get on. We've got a lot to get through this morning, and we've got a lot of questions and insights that we're going to get from our guests. But before that, my partner in crime, the Lou to my stew. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Miss Louise, Community Manager.
Good morning. Hi. Morning, everybody.
Hello.
Lovely to see you all here. Hello. Morning, Stu. How are you doing?
You get younger every week.
Oh, I love that. It's the lighting. It's all in the lighting.
I was going to say, those filters are getting so good.
They're great.
These days.
They're really good. A really good thing.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you. Yeah, really good. I've had I feel like I've had a busy week, Stu, to be honest. I know it's lockdown and I've not been out, but I've been out, which is the first step. We had such a great networking event on Tuesday night, LinkedIn Local. Oh, it was so much fun. We bought Christmas early. For those of you who were there, no, we bought Christmas early because we're not doing one in December. We had a fantastic celebrity guest, which was Borat. All eyes. Am I looking the right way? No, it's that way.
No, you were the first time. I don't know. It depends how they've got us set up.
So yeah, it was great to see lovely people there and just having a chat about Christmas, about business, what's going on. So if you missed it, we are doing our next one later in January. I think it's the 19th of January. So that was good. And then I went to a webinar last night as well, like a webinar that wasn't work related, which was fantastic, actually. Caitlin Moran did a fantastic webinar last night, author, journalist, and it was lovely just to sit in my lounge. They were really chilled and relaxed with a glass of wine, just chewing the cud. It was absolutely brilliant. So I feel like I've had a very busy week, to be honest, although I haven't actually left the house, which is great.
Fantastic. Well, it's good to hear. Good to hear your keep yourself busy between
keeping myself on my toes. All
the hub stuff we're doing. We've got two new guests today. We've got a new member and a first-time visitor.
Brilliant. Welcome.
So we've got Lee Stewart, who is print and design, I believe. Yes. Yeah. Print and design. And Dane Cartwright said that they wanted to open a coffee shop in Borden, but he's been hitting his head against brick walls, so he's looking at the mobile option.
Oh wow, okay.
So Dane, let's have a chat after the session, because there are definitely some contacts with local coffee producers that we have, actually. If I'm right, Emma, it's Mozzo Coffee.
Yeah,
came in for a talk. Did a talk. It was fantastic. So yeah, love to have that chat, Dane.
I love the fact that it's keep looking local and local produce and local suppliers, because more now than ever, we should be looking at local, which is definitely the way forward. So yeah, well, good on you.
That's the whole point of the My Town Online project that
Exactly.
Signal have launched. So if you want to get your business listed on mytownonline.co.uk, it's free until January. So you can link back to your website. You can put a description of products and services. Go and have a look at Sheila Lemon's profile. We did some polishing on it for her, and it's I think it looks really professional. Really stands out. So do make yourself a beeline to that. But anyway, with all that being said, let's crack on, Lou. We've got a lot to get through today and a lot of questions to ask. As always, common sense prevails. This is all about general guidance and advice. If you hear anything and you feel it is right for your business, then please do all the proper due diligences to make sure that you will have the outcomes you're expecting. If you get stuck or you have any questions, come and speak to us. You've got our telephone numbers. Go to the website, signalborden.org.
Put your teeth in, Stu. Put your teeth in.
I know. And just, you know, practice a bit of common sense. After this, if you are a guest, you will be receiving an email from us. So look out for that, please, Dane. But we'll have a chat after this session, and we will see what your business does and what your business ambitions are and how we perhaps can help. So just going to quickly share my screen. There we go. And this week, as always, the third week of the month is the Member Spotlight. We'll be talking to 3 of the BiZHUB members. You're finding out more about them and their businesses and their journey through, into and with their businesses. So looking forward to that. Always throws up some very interesting thoughts and ideas. And then the timings are as follows. We've got the intro with us, and then we'll be talking to our members. That lasts about 45 minutes. If the mood of the room, we'll ask at the end at 10:30. If you need a short break, then fine. But we might just roll it through and take your questions for our members and promote everyone to panelists so you can all chat and talk and raise your hands and we can hear you and see you. And if we do that, then we'll finish a little bit earlier than the part 2 meeting highlights. And I think that's just slightly more friendly than sending you all away, just to have you all come back so we can see you. So and we'll be looking to do more of that in 2021 with some interesting developments that Microsoft Teams that we've been seeing, the ability to turn a webinar into a meeting with breakout rooms, which I'm quite looking forward to that Lou. It should be very straightforward for people to just click the link and be in the meeting.
Definitely. I think it's very much, the technology is now very much working towards that. So you know, you want to see people, you want to be in a room, you want to be able to go into breakout rooms, but you also need the facility of webinar. So if it works with Teams, that would be really great. So it's definitely something that we'll be looking at, keeping our finger on the pulse with the technology as always. Absolutely.
You mentioned it before, LinkedIn Local, 3rd Tuesday of the month. The next one is the 19th of January. Starts at 7, ends at 8, short and sharp. You get to chat, you get to smile, you get to have some fun, like Lou said. The next one's in January, I believe I said.
19th of January. Yeah. So, yeah, book onto that. Come along. I know it seems a long way away, but we've got the Christmas in between. So definitely come along. It's a great way just to meet new friends and meet old friends as well. So, yeah, please come along, book on to the next event. Absolutely.
November has all been about business support. If you need business support, or we all need some help with our businesses. As we say at Signal, you cannot build a business on your own. So we've been looking at business support. We had a look at mastermind and accountability, which was useful. If you want to come along to mastermind and you are a member, you can come along, you can book on. We have 2 sessions next week. We've got a morning and an afternoon. If you go to the BiZHUB events page on our website, signalborden.org, you will see there is a list of all the events, and you can book on through for mastermind, mini mastermind next week.
Yeah, Yeah, we've got a few spaces left for the morning session, and the afternoon session we've got I think about 8 spaces still available. So come along if you're a member. This is a members only event, so come along and share with us in the mastermind. Remember, what happens in mastermind stays in mastermind, and we really, really believe and stick to that.
Yeah, and for Stuart and Dane, Dane, obviously you're not a member yet, but it is a members only event, and that's because people talk about their businesses, and there might be a bit of sensitive information in there because you're talking about some quite strategic and deep things in your business. And there is a document in the members area in the resource, if you log in, that tells you how to get the most out of mastermind. It's better to come along with those big meaty weighty problems that wake you up at 2 o'clock in the morning rather than those how do you do that with Excel spreadsheets. We can help you with that, but you're not going to grow your business, you're not going to grow as a business person. So come along with those problems that make you sit bolt upright and scribble on your pad next to your bed. I know I've had a few of those this year.
Exactly.
Coming up in December, we've got our annual review through the month. The first week, the 4th, we've got Dr. Mark Selby, Professor Mark Selby, coming along and giving us a talk, looking forward into 2021 and perhaps beyond, and getting ready and preparing for it. You know, what trends, what things are changing. And he's the head of the G5 group, and is heavily involved with the Surrey University. Always a pleasure to listen to. He's got a timbre to his voice which is mesmerizing. Then the second week, we've got the highlights of 2020. We have our wonderful and glorious MD Emma Selby, who's in the chat with us today, giving us her version of the Queen's Speech, as we've sort of been dubbing it internally. A little look back and maybe a look forward, some reveals, some things that will be happening in 2021 which are exciting and we've been working on as a team, so do come along for that.
Can I just add in there as well, when we've been working on you know, what we're going to be presenting on that week, it's incredible how much we've done over the last year. I mean, and you do forget, you know, because life is so fast paced and everything, you forget all the subjects we've covered, all the things that we've revealed. So do come along to that session and have a look at how much we've all grown as businesses over the last year. So it's going to be a really good session. And we've got James Child from Whitehill and Borden Regeneration coming as well to that session, just to say, you know, to give us an update as to what's happening in the town centre. But again, as to their journey, you know, they've been on an incredible journey as well, and in delivering what they will be delivering next year in the town centre. So it's going to be a really insightful, great session as a complete sort of highlight and roundup of what's happened in 2020. So yeah.
Well, I'm absolutely intrigued to ask him about the Makers Market in 2021, opening over the Easter weekend.
Yeah.
That's not that far away. So there's a lot there that I'm looking forward to talking or hearing about.
Definitely.
And then we got our Christmas BiZHUB session. Time to let down your hair, open the mince pies, pour a bit of sherry, or maybe a slug of whiskey in your tea, and kick back with a fun BiZHUB session. There will be a quiz, there will be charades. People thought we were joking. No, we're not.
We're not.
We could look complete fools, or it could be a triumph. And we look forward to seeing you there and bearing witness to our folly.
I think it's going to be great.
Yes, absolutely. That's it. Positive attitude.
Yeah.
And we'll also be revealing a little bit more about what's going on in 2021 for the BiZHUB through the whole of December. So do keep your eyes peeled. Do keep a look out for our emails in your inbox, because there'll be all sorts coming out. With that being said, 2021, we're going to give you a little topic teaser. January's topic is your post-Brexit business. Of course, we may have tucked that away into the back of our head, but one of our guests today won't have. And he will be coming along in January to give us a little insight into a post-Brexit GDPR world. We'll be talking more about all of this on the 11th of December. So book in for that one to find out more about our program, our full program. We've got every month planned in now, don't we, Lou?
Yeah, program is fully ready to go. We will be giving, obviously, everybody a planner so that you can plan again for your year. So look out for that. So yeah, it's all systems go really at Signal for 2021.
Yeah, looking forward to it. As always, everything is on our website, signalborden.org. Keep yourself up to date. We've been updating some of the blogs this week and updating some of the older and more heavily trafficked pages. So please do keep an eye out there. If you spot anything that's either wrong, out of date or whatever, do get in touch. Do let us know. You know, we try and keep across everything, but you know, if you spot anything that is particularly stands out that needs to be looked at, please always do bring it to our attention. Also a shout out to Ellie, one of our freelancers. She helps us with the marketing, and she's revamping our Instagram. So please do, if you have Instagram, connect with us there at @signal_Borden is our handle. And we'll give a shout out to one of our, I was going to say, we'll give you a shout out to one of our 1,400 followers.
Just the
we'll
one.
give you a shout out to all of our 1,400 followers. There we are, 1,400 times more effective. So yeah, so do connect with us there. Right, the thing that I absolutely love every week, win, learning or both. Pop your wins, your learnings or both. Lou, what was your win, learning or both this week?
I think my learning this week was I'm really embracing yet again technology and different things that I've never really delved into before, and I'm very much have a new attitude now, in that if I don't know how to do it, normally I would ask somebody, oh, could you do that, because I don't really do it. Now I'm like, show me how to do it. I want to know how to do it. So I'm just trying to learn as much as I can at the minute. So frustrating for those who keep having to explain small things to me. Stu, I'll look at you, but you know,
I'm saying nothing.
There's things that I've, you've done basically, you've always done, and then you're just like, why do I do it that way? Hang on a minute, am I doing it right? Maybe I could do it better. So yeah, for me, it's all about that these last couple of weeks. So yeah, it's scary, but it's great to learn the things that I don't know.
Excellent. I had a learning this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a new mattress doubles in size in 24 hours.
Oh.
we got a new mattress, and it flumped up initially. It was like that, and then yesterday morning, Jem said, I'm sure it grew overnight. And then we went up last night, and it's stretching the sheet now.
Oh God.
No, it might need a bigger sheet on the bed.
Oh.
That was my learning.
Good.
A mattress doubles in size in 24 hours, a modern mattress.
Who knew? We've had
go.
some, let's have a look. We've had some learnings in the, Sue's had a learning. I featured on a virtual market this week and found out that large videos are too big to email, can be sent via wetransfer.com. It's a very useful tool there. Definitely. Well done. That's really good.
Yeah.
Featuring on a virtual market. Great as well. So well done. Well done. See, that's a double one in my book.
And we've got Sheila. No, sorry.
Shayna.
Yeah, sorry, Shayna. It just flipped out. It's when somebody puts something at the bottom, it shoots up. But Shayna was saying that she's created a Facebook page for her Etsy jewelry business.
Yes,
Fantastic.
Shayna. Well done. I know that's a long time coming, so well done for jumping and doing it. That's really good.
Another shout out for Angie's Passion for Training Facebook group. If you don't know,
I've joined that group. Incredible.
It's incredible, isn't it? It's like
a little gem every day.
Nuggets every day. Brilliant. It opens you and exposes you to new features of programs that I've long used, or new things that are very useful, little tools, things online. So yeah, definite shout out for Passion for Training on Facebook. It's a group run by Angie Brown, one of our members.
Excellent. Dane has put in the chat, he's had a win. He's decided to go for it and creating his own business and brand. and he's learning. He needs to get more into the detail. I'm terrible at glossing over the surface. Well done for jumping in, Dane. That's really good. It's a big step. So well done.
Excellent. And Michael Stopford spent 2 days at the Bookkeepers Conference.
Oh, good.
I'm assuming a virtual conference, Michael. Yeah, who knows? It might be a in-person one, but well done. Lots of insights, things coming in the pipeline. It's good that you've got your finger on the pulse. Excellent. That continual professional development, as we call it. Yes, Helen Gibbs is figuring out Linktree and how to use that. Yeah, we've been using that on our Instagram to give people options of where to go through to our website. So do get yourself into that, Helen. And Joanna wants to talk about, or no, Joanna was talking to me about internet buying habits, and we had an interesting conversation there. So I'm glad you took something away from that, Joanna.
Plus, she's had an article accepted for her local free community magazine.
Oh,
it's really good. Well done, Joanna. That's very good. You're very good at getting the word out there. So well done. It's fantastic.
That's the main thing that we talk about when we do our Jumpstart January program, is your absolute key task every single day. No matter what you do in the day, you should be doing something to find and keep your customers. We talk about it quite regularly. It's one of the base principles of a successful business. Every day they are looking for or keeping their current customers happy. So so yeah, well, those great wins there. We'll take those.
There's one more I want to read out. Jigsaw Property, Gary at Jigsaw Property. He's been asked to quote for some new work at the Bosque to extend the lower ground space for the new year, which is brilliant. And I can't wait for that to happen, because to be honest, it would be great if they do the extension downstairs. So yeah, brilliant.
Oh, and Terry just popped one in. A local rest home loves the photographs he's taken and is just waiting for their web designer to contact me, and looking to have Google My Business up and running with a new page on Facebook and LinkedIn for his 360 business by next week. Well,
fantastic.
Keep going, Terry, keep plugging away. 2021 is your year. Absolutely. You're going to smash it. It is great to have the people achieving it, Shayna, and it does add that positivity. And that's why being part of the business community, it makes you look at the horizon a bit more, with a bit more positivity, a bit more focus, because you feel like you've got people around you that are sharing the wins, and things are happening and things are changing, and things are happening positively.
I think it's also a really good opportunity to look at what you're doing and say, actually, I have had a win, because often we have wins and don't even think or talk about it. So it's a really good opportunity to look at yourself, look at your business, a small win, a learning, it doesn't matter. Just reflect. It's really, really good to reflect, and being part of this community, that really sort of assists that and makes you really think about it.
Okay, Lou, we could talk about positives, wins and learnings all day long, I'm sure, but we have guests waiting in the wings who are chomping at the bit to tell us all about their positive businesses.
Indeed.
So talk about our member spotlight. Please introduce our members today.
So our three members that we've got in the spotlight today are Noam Jenkins, Keith Budden and Lorna Smith. Come on in, guys.
Come on in, guys.
There we go. Morning.
Morning.
Hi, morning. Lovely to see you all. And welcome to Member Spotlight, where we're just going to have an informal chat with you about you and your business, etc. So welcome, first of all. And I'm just going to ask you to do a quick introduction as to who you are and what your business does. So I'll start with you, Lorna.
Okay, hi, everybody. My name's Lorna Smith. My company is Top Marks Healthcare Limited. I actually run a franchise for WPA, Western Provident Association, who are specialists in medical insurance.
Brilliant, thank you. And Keith, over to you.
Yeah, I specialise in GDPR. You'd never guess. And that's very, for the last few years, been very much my thing. So GDPR both for small businesses, large businesses, charities, local government, you name it.
Brilliant, thank you. And Noam, over to you.
Hi, I'm Noam Jenkins. My business is Retro Ghost Designs, and I am a Photoshop artist and graphic designer. So I'm a one-stop shop for all your images and design for print needs.
Point of order, please, Noam. You're not just a graphic designer and Photoshop artist. You're also a marketer.
Apparently. Apparently.
Get used to it. Get used to it. The crown feels heavy at first. It gets comfortable with age.
Well, we'll see. We'll see about that.
Well, brilliant. Thank you for your introductions and thank you for joining us today. So we're just going to kick off with some questions. Feel free to jump in and answer questions and then add to if you want. It's a really informal, but it's just an opportunity for people to get to know you, get to know your business, and find out what drives you and what makes you tick. So I think we'll start with the first question today, and it's almost the most obvious one, but why did you choose the industry or sector or niche that you did? If I can start with you, Keith, why did you choose your industry?
I just, like a lot of people probably, I'm not so sure that I chose it as it chose me, if that makes sense. I've always been a firm believer that lots of people concentrate on being the best at something. The problem with being the best at something is it's temporary, because someone else will come along and be better than you.
Okay.
If you can be the first at something, nobody can ever beat that. You've always been the first.
Okay.
And hence why I launched the first GDPR podcast in the UK, the GDPR Weekly Show. And going way back when I started in running my own business, I was one of the first 4 people in the UK to bring document management to the UK.
Okay.
And I actually went to a trade show in America, saw what was happening there, came back, and I actually said to my partner at the time, I've just seen the future. Because it really was. And whilst I still believe that the paperless office is about as likely as the paperless toilet, it is a technology that moved forward. And from there, I got into IT security, and from there, I got into GDPR. So here we are now, 22 years later, and still pushing on with it.
But what drew you to GDPR? Why GDPR specifically?
Why?
What took you there?
I just really, again, it was spotting that there would be a need, because what I became aware of back in 2016 when I first became involved with GDPR, was that every company of any size was going to need it.
Right.
And therefore the opportunity was massive. And I think it's fair to say that when it came in May 2018, probably until February 2018, a good number of companies of whatever size hadn't even thought about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's scaring me with the changes that are coming in January too, is that, which I know I'm going to talk about in our January session. But lots of companies are sleepwalking into it. They don't know it's coming.
Yeah.
And I think that's in part the government's fault. They don't publicize it enough. And just to relate on that, in GDPR, originally we were told that GDPR would have a massive nationwide advertising campaign. They actually ran it on 4 local radio stations in London, Manchester and Glasgow, and I can't remember the 4th one was. They had so many calls to their helpline that the helpline couldn't cope, so they pulled the advertising. Which is real logic. You know, you don't employ more people on the helpline, you stop advertising the helpline instead, which is
well, I think Hub members should not be scared about GDPR, because we have you, Keith, and you're coming to talk to us all about it in January. So don't be scared, members. We've got it covered.
And I would just say, I mean, obviously I do all the formal things as well, Lou, but if any member has a problem or has a question, then always just find me an email, because I'm always quite happy just to respond and say either yay or nay, or, you know, you don't need to worry about that, or it is something you need to worry about.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Keith. Lorna, what about you? Let's move over to you. Why did you choose the industry or sector that you're in?
Oh, similar to Keith, really. I don't think I set out to choose it. I didn't even set out to be a business owner or self-employed or anything like that. A brief potted history. I trained originally as a psychiatric nurse, and that was many years ago. And so, having been a very young staff nurse on a really busy acute psychiatric ward for 2 years, I was let out for good behaviour, I guess, and joined the pharmaceutical industry. And I joined one of the best companies, in my opinion, and stayed there for 18 years in sales and sales management. In fact, a company that's very much involved in vaccines. They were vaccine specialists. They're very much involved in the new COVID vaccine at the moment. So anyway, after 18 years, I had a mad moment, or as my mother would call it, a midlife crisis, and just jumped off the corporate wheel with no real idea of what I wanted to do. Okay. But I had gone to a networking meeting, I had no idea that this whole world of self-employed people existed, and all these networking, all these crazy people that met at 6:30 in the morning. Anyway, I went to a networking meeting and met this lady who was a franchisee for WPA, and I thought, gosh, medical insurance is one benefit that I really, really valued having as an employee, because both myself and my husband had used it. So I had a one-to-one with a view of buying medical insurance, and after 30 minutes thought, actually, do you know what, I quite like the sound of this, and ended up buying a franchise.
Wow.
And that was 2008. So yeah, I've been doing it 12 years now, and
Goodness me.
haven't looked back at all.
It is incredible when you are in the corporate world and you take that leap and you think, oh, there's a whole new world out there of people that are self-employed and run their own businesses, and, you know, and can like choose their own destiny, if you like.
Definitely.
And you just don't know about it until you put your foot in it and you think, oh, hello, that works.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no.
Really good. And Noam, over to you. Why did you choose the industry that you're in?
Much like Keith and Lorna, actually, it chose me. I was born a creative. I've always been creative. I knew that I was supposed to be doing something creative, but for many, many years, I was stuck in jobs that weren't that. I spent 11 years in purchasing, and, you know, it paid the bills, but I had itchy feet and I knew I was in the wrong job. So, but of course, you know, when you've got bills to pay, you've got overheads, it's very difficult then to make that change into a completely new career. So, so I started sort of doing some home study courses. I did a web development study course at home, realized I hate coding, so it wasn't really for me. I did pass the course, but yeah, it wasn't really my cup of tea. Then went on to do Photoshop, absolutely loved it. Next thing you know, a job opportunity came up that was 5 minutes from my house, and it was a creative sales position, which for an interior landscaping company. So my job then was to go and design interior plant installations for businesses, and that enabled me to bring Photoshop into my work that I was doing every day. I was creating customer visualizations to beef up my proposals and help them in their decision-making process. And it worked really, really well. And the company had never done it before. So it's now, they still do it now that I'm not there. They come to me and I do it for them.
Okay, good.
So that was kind of the start of it, really. And then the company that I was working for obviously saw how creative I was. Next thing you know, I'm designing all of their marketing materials. But the trouble is that industry wasn't paid very well. So I was still kind of, although I was enjoying what I was doing, you know, I have goals for the future. And I thought, you know, if I'm going to achieve them, I need to be earning more money. But again, it was difficult, you know, because I have a dog as well. So when you're looking for another job, you've got to consider, you know, doggy daycare and all that stuff, more expense. So I thought, well, you know what, why don't if I was working from home, that would solve the problem. And hence I ended up becoming self-employed. And here I am.
Brilliant. It's great that you obviously are very passionate about being creative, and you can do that as your job now, and you can do it on your terms, which is just a gift, really, isn't it?
It is. I think for somebody to be able to do what they love for a living, you can't ask for more than that, can you?
Exactly.
That's what everybody wants.
Exactly. Brilliant. Well, thank you for that. It's always so interesting to get an insight as to how people, and you know, you always think when you look at other people that they're just like, oh, they knew what they were going to do and they just did it and they just got on with it. But it's a journey. It's a journey that you find yourself on, and it just takes one sort of event that you think, actually, do you know what, I'm going to do that myself, or I'm not going to do that, I'm going to change and I'm going to do that. And it's just, you just never know when it's going to happen. So yeah, really interesting. Thank you.
I think there's a little bit of creativity in all business owners, because every day you're creatively solving problems and coming up with answers and helping customers. So yeah, I think it's a natural fit for a creative personality to want to work for themselves. And I've found many people who have broken the mold and gone out there and struck out on their own are creative. So you're in good company. No, you're in good company. I'm going to come back to you now. I'm going to ask you a quick question. I'm going to ask it of everyone eventually, but come back to you. What one piece of advice do you wish you'd been given before you started your business?
Be more prepared.
Oh.
So before I actually stopped, before I took the plunge, I was very transparent with my current employer. I told them what my plans were, which, you know, because I wanted to be honest and open about it. But at the same time, I kind of shot myself in the foot a little bit, because although they were very supportive, they were pushing me for a date when I was going to leave. So I kind of felt under pressure to leave sooner than I was really ready to. So yeah, I think I would have kept that quiet for a bit longer to give myself more time to put preparations in place and maybe get a few customers under my wing before I took the leap. So yeah, that would be my advice. Be prepared.
But how brave and accountable is that? Telling your boss, I'm going to leave and set up a business. You got to do it at that point, or forever be the employee they know will never leave.
Yeah.
So, you know, we talked about accountability when we were discussing at the beginning of November in my talk. And that's the ultimate one, telling your boss, I'm going to leave and set up my own business. Oh, right. When? Come back to you on that. No,
Yeah.
but, you know, that's the sort of thing we need to know. Lorna, what one piece of advice do you wish you'd been given before you started your business?
So I guess really it would be nice to have just been reassured that yes, okay, you've got a lot of experience. You know, sort of I'm good, used to dealing with people, used to the sales environment. I've got to know the products really well and the company. But there are certain parts of running a business that are just outside of your skill set, or certainly outside of my skill set. So things like bookkeeping, for example. Why did I spend so much time in those early days trying to keep on top of my own bookkeeping when I could have just outsourced it? Things like marketing, so you know, all the different sort of approaches to marketing, and again, that wasn't my skill set, and I wish I'd sort of just spoken to more people rather than trying to do it all on my own to begin with.
Yeah, that thing that I'm self-employed and therefore self-sufficient and required to do absolutely everything is one of the things that keeps business owners poor.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the thing. In the early days, you've got the least amount of money, if you like, disposable income, but you need the most help.
It is a conundrum, and that's why, you know, creative solutions to that problem and a structured approach is what's required. You need a process in place to unpick that particular problem so that you are getting that time back, so that you're doing your core competencies and can let other people who are better at those tasks achieve more for you in the time that they're spending. But definitely, you're right, there is a financial component there, and I recognize that. But there are ways to build it up slowly. And like
I definitely wish I'd put some more things out to other people to begin with. Yeah. I should have done. So certainly bookkeeping.
But it's like everything in business. You learn as you go. It's kind of on the job training to some degree. It's just you've got to recognise, actually, this is taking 4 hours and I'm no good at it, and it frustrates me and upsets me.
Yeah. Which is
I'm with you. Bookkeeping needs to be outsourced.
Which is the benefit of the hub as well. Just sorry to interject there, because you know the hub highlights all of those things, doesn't it? It shows you, you know, as a whole, the business that you're running and what things to outsource, and you've got your community already there, because it is lonely on your own, running your own business, you know, for the first time or the second or the third time. It's lonely. It's nice to be in a community.
It's been brought up a few times. You know, if you want to start to think about your business in a more structured way, write out an org chart with the departments, you know, like HR, IT, and all the rest of it that are relevant to your business. Some that are common, some that aren't. But then put your name in against each one. And then start thinking about, actually, when I'm doing that, I'm really unhappy. So that needs to be taken off of my plate at first, because that's where my major unhappiness is. And then you get creative around how you do that. And obviously it scales. But anyway, thank you for that, Lorna. Keith, what piece of advice do you wish you'd been given before you started your business?
Well, I was going to say much the same as Lorna, really. Learning you can't do everything yourself. And that was brought home quite valid to me really quite early when I started in business, because I met somebody who actually did some of my design for me, and we were chatting about the fact I just started a business, and he said, why haven't you got a cleaner? And I said, cleaner? You know, I'm trying to save money. Why do I want a cleaner? And he said, if you're selling your time at £40 an hour and you can pay a cleaner, I think it was probably £7 an hour then, he says, why are you doing the cleaning? And that whole methodology then came into it of thinking, well, actually, do you know what? Yeah, if there's things that I don't actually need to do, that don't need to be me, then they shouldn't be me. I should be paying someone else to do them. And I think part of that as well, and this comes back to something Noam was saying, is that you know, I'm firmly the old adage that if you love doing your work, then you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And that's you know, because it should be fun. Yeah. None of us, I would hope, get into a business to have a miserable time. Yeah, we have down days, of course we do. That's part of the roller coaster of being in business. But surely the main thing of doing it is to have fun, because you know, I mean, as some of you know, I have a disability. I spent a fair amount of time in hospital, and I remember talking to somebody one day about things, and I said, look, the one thing that's pretty certain with me, and I hope is pretty certain with everybody, is if I'm laying there on my deathbed, the one thing I'm not going to say to someone is, do you know what? I wish I'd spent more time in the office. and that's, you know, that's all part of it. I think it's about being you. And one of the joys that I like from being my own boss is I can work from 5 in the morning to 11 in the morning, and then have the rest of the day to myself if I want. And I don't have to answer to anybody for that. Or equally, I can do it the other way around. You know, because at the end of the day, your customers, on the whole, if you're providing a service, don't actually care when you do it. They just care that they get it by the date they want it for.
Yeah.
And I think that flexibility is very important. But equally, I think the other thing I would say that I wish someone had told me is no one has a monopoly on good ideas.
Mm.
And hence, by joining a group like this, again, one of the things that I get out of this group, I think, is sometimes just, you know, someone will mention something which might be a real off-the-cuff comment, but it sets a light bulb going of like, oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's valuable, because I mean, I know it's something that you've said before, Stu, that you can't build a business on your own, and you're a fool if you believe that you can. I think it is.
No, absolutely. Having been that fool, I can attest that something gives, and it's usually your health, either your physical or your mental, and sometimes both. So I would urge everybody, if you feel that you are getting overwhelmed, talk to somebody. There is always something that can be done. If you've spent too many days when you get up in the morning with your shoulders sagging and that feeling, then you need to have a conversation, because there is too much on your plate that you're not enjoying. And you're right, Keith.
Yeah.
You know, if you choose to be self-employed and are doing a job you hate, then you are your own jailer.
Yeah, I think Joanna's put in the chat, actually, she's outsourced her accountancy and marketing, as she knows they're not her strengths, so she gets frustrated when she has to do it herself. So you know, if there are things that you can outsource, I definitely think it's definitely the way to go. Right, thank you for that, Keith. So I just want to move on to a question now, and I want you to describe your typical day. So it's always interesting to find out what people are doing, you know, day in, day out. Just pick a random typical day and just talk us through it in brief, how that pans out for you. I'm going to start with you, Lorna.
Okay. So networking, often, so not often, but maybe sort of twice a week there'll be sort of some networking first thing in the morning. Like it to be face to face, but obviously it's been on Zoom.
Yeah.
But that's normally over and done with sort of, you know, pretty early on in the morning. I normally have a list of things that have come in from the day before or carried over from the day before. So customer related things, really, responding to customer queries, phone calls. So these will be existing customers, and they could be individual customers, or they could be sort of, you know, corporate, employees. I'll have renewal phone calls to make. So I contact all of my customers prior to their renewal. So there'll be sort of renewal phone calls to make, following up any prospects or leads. Often, so this week, for example, I did a company presentation. So a company that are a customer of ours. They've got employees. When it comes to sort of, you know, they're renewal, they'll perhaps have new employees that have been on the scheme but don't know what they've got. So I'll do a presentation again over Zoom at the moment, ensuring all the staff know what benefits they've got. So yeah, that's pretty much it really. And it's interesting how I've really valued not being able to not spending so much time in the car since the whole change.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it just made me realise how much time I was not wasting, but spending in the car when you weren't able to, you know, get on top of things. So
it
yeah,
sounds quite
definitely a new way of working.
it sounds quite structured and quite organised, your day.
It is, yes. It's a mixture of reactive and proactive. Sometimes it's just, you know, sort of it's more reactive. Just that's just the way it goes. But
yeah. Brilliant. Okay, thank you. And what about you, Noam?
So a typical day would start off with a dog walk. So be out in nature, give me a bit of headspace to organise my thoughts for the day and think about what I've got to do. I'd come back, I'd sit at my desk, have my breakfast, cup of tea, generally start off answering emails, and then whatever the day happens to have in store for me, whether it's a day's worth of paid work, whether it's a day's worth of blog writing, whether it's a networking event or two. My days tend to vary quite a lot, but this is going to seem quite odd probably, but I always like to make sure that I am watching a series of something.
Okay.
To give me a reason to go and have an hour's lunch break every day. So that's my incentive to get away from my computer for an hour for lunch and go and sit, watch something, and then come back, because then I can just totally switch off and just have that bit of time out. Otherwise, I'll sit in front of this computer all day. And
tell us what you're watching now. Come on, give us an insight. What are you watching now?
I'm watching a series called Kingdom on Netflix.
Kingdom.
Yeah, it's about fighters.
Good. It's really quite good actually, because that gives you a discipline, doesn't it, to have that break and move away from your computer.
Exactly. Yeah. Otherwise, I'll sit here all day, and I know that's not good for me. And I do my very best to finish sort of 5-6 o'clock. That doesn't always work out, but then when you're self-employed, you know, that's it. And I do try to have my weekends to myself again as much as possible. But you know, being self-employed is not always that easy. So yeah.
So you don't do that thing on Netflix, you go, just one more. You don't do that. You stick to one.
Not my lunch break. I always just stick to one. Yeah, I stick to that. But yeah, gets away for a bit.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for that insight. What about you, Keith? What's your typical day like?
I tend to get up really early. I tend to be up somewhere between 4:30 and 5. And the reason for that is solely so I can get anything really intense out of the way before the day starts. So by 9 o'clock, if I've got something really technical I need to think through, or a report I need to write, or whatever, it's done. Because I've also really become a firm advocate of you know, eating that frog. So the thing that's you really don't want to do is do first, because it's such a relief when you get it out of the way, and it's never as bad as you think it's going to be.
Exactly.
Then these days, most of my, I suppose, the normal working day, if you like, seems to be spent either in Zoom or in Teams or in Skype for Business. Sadly, some people still use it. It's you know, so it's like this, and I've actually become quite used to that. And I think, taking what Lorna said, I actually find now that I actually think when all this is over, I'm going to drive much less to meetings and things than I used to, because I'm like, why drive 2 hours to Birmingham for a 1 hour meeting and drive 2 hours back again and get stuck on the M25? When in fact, you can do an hour on Zoom and just have the meeting and it's done and it's dead and it's finished. So that's my sort of day. I try and avoid, as most of you know, I'm a chairman of East Hampstead District Council. I try and avoid council stuff during the day as much as I can. But then early evening, pretty well every night of the week, will be taken up with a council meeting. Some of them quite short, some unfortunately, like last night from 6 o'clock till 10 to 10, quite long. But it's fair to say, I think, that we so that's my sort of typical working day. I don't work at all on Saturdays. Saturdays are my day for me, and I've always held that. And Sundays I tend to produce the my podcast, the GDPR Weekly Show.
We've got a question from Emma about that. Did it present a technical challenge when you first started, and how did you overcome it? How did you learn all the various things that you needed to do?
Okay, yes, it did present a technical challenge. I'd never done a podcast. I'd never even thought about doing a podcast, to be honest, until I watched a podcast by a chap called Rob Moore. I don't know if any of you know, but he's made an absolute fortune out of property. And I joined an episode of his podcast, and I thought, you know what, I could actually do that, but I don't know how. And so I've always been a firm believer of, if you don't ask, you don't get. And so I sent him an email and said, I really boosted his ego. I said, watched a few episodes of your podcast, really impressed. Great way to spend, half an hour every week. I'd like to do it. And to my great surprise, about a day and a half later, I got an email back from him saying, do you have a couple of hours free on Wednesday evening? We'll go through it.
Wow.
And so we did.
And you never know unless you ask.
And it was fantastic, because he told me all the things to do and equally the things not to do.
So here's a challenge. Here's a challenge I'm going to put out, Keith. I'm going to cut across you here because I'm going to send out a challenge to everyone listening. What one person whose media do you consume could you reach out to and say, I really like this, how do I do this? Or try and engage with them. Everybody has somebody in their social media profile that they look up to or admire or listen to or has good. Reach out to them, send them a message, whether that's a direct message or an email, and ask them a question about your business and maybe interviewing them or getting started or something. You never know
really
what
good.
Whatever can happen.
It's a really good challenge, and I think everybody could put it in the members only BiZHUB group on Facebook. Put it in there, and so we can
who
see
you've reached out to and what they said. And if you get a no or a knockback, find the next person. That's one small tiny action you could take every week.
It's a really good idea.
Absolutely. I want to move it on because thank you very much for that, Keith. I want to move it on because time is tight. So we're going to look into the future. Do you want to pose them a question, Lou?
So I think it's really important to ask this question. What are some of your life goals? It ties in really well with business because you've got to have goals, but life goals are something that is often overlooked. So Noam, I'll come to you first. What are some of your life goals?
To be honest, I only have one major life goal, and it's the driving force behind why I do what I do. And that is to have the forever home either mortgage free or as close to mortgage free as possible by the time I retire. And it's as simple as that. And that is what I am trying to work towards by doing this.
Brilliant. Good.
Noam, have you read anything about the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early?
No.
I would put that on your list of things to start including in your reading material. Go and join a few Reddit forums. There are Finance UK forums, but we've got a guy coming in next year, a guy called Barney Whitener, who is Barney Whitener. Yeah. He is a financial independence specialist, and he talks about what's called FIRE, financial independence, retire early. And he's coming along to sort of give people some tips. He's got a website called theescapeartist.me.
We've talked about this before, haven't we?
Yeah, I'm going to keep pushing it because I think it ties in really nicely with a lot of the self-employment movement.
Brilliant.
I've watched a couple of his YouTube videos, Noam, after we've because we're obviously having him to come and talk to us at the pub. So I was just doing a bit of research, and honestly, it's fantastic. So look him up and have a look. Ties in really well with your life goal. Lorna, can I come over to you? What are some of your life goals?
Okay, to stay in the business, certainly for the foreseeable future. Some of you may know that Matt, my son, works with me as an account manager. So, I mean, my goal is that we're going to build up the portfolio so it provides a comfortable income for all of us, but that I can just step back and still be involved, but maybe sort of just working two days a week. That'd be my ideal, really, so that I can travel a lot more. I mean, this year we did a lot more traveling in the UK. Bizarrely, in this year of lockdown, we were able to get away.
Yeah.
And so it just made me realise there's so many places in the UK that I'd really like to be able to go and see. So have just many more long weekends away.
Brilliant.
And but equally, when we are allowed to travel abroad again, then I want to get out and see those places and to tick off my list that are still there before it gets stopped again.
Definitely. Brilliant. Thank you. What about you, Keith? What are some of your life goals?
Well, I mean, business-wise, I want to build more passive income in the business rather than active income, so that I can stop selling time for money.
Yeah.
But in terms of life goals, my one thing I would really, really love to do is to take a year out and actually travel and see each Formula One Grand Prix around the world for a whole season live.
Wow. Okay.
And that would be, I'm a big Formula One nut, and that would be for me a real dream year if I could do that.
Nice.
Brilliant. It's I love Formula One as well. Although sometimes I think somebody else needs a chance now, like Lewis Hamilton.
Stop it! Everyone said that about Schumacher. Oh, he's always winning. It's boring. When has excellence ever been boring? When has being the best in the world? Sorry. I'll keep
Never mind.
I suppose I sort of put a claim to fame there in a way, in that many years ago, it's 17, 18 years ago, I actually had a season where I sponsored a Formula Renault team.
Oh, okay.
And so went along to all the Formula Renault races around the country. And at that time in that year, Lewis Hamilton was driving in Formula Renault.
Oh, wow.
And so I can say that I have actually stood next to Lewis Hamilton all those years ago.
Wow.
And
if I'd known now how much he was going to be worth, I wish I'd spent longer talking to him. But
you see, that's a lesson, though, to be fair, because it's like when you go to a networking meeting, you have no idea who you're going to meet, who they know, who they connect with, how they can help, how you can help them. You just have no idea. So it's best performance always at networking is my motto.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time today, dear panelists. It's been interesting to hear about your businesses. I just want to ask one last question, and I'm going to quickly whip round, and then we'll probably open the floor up, invite everyone to join us, and then they can all ask their questions. But what do you think the biggest opportunity in your business / industry is for 2021? Go, Noam.
I think, in terms of what I do, I think there's more opportunity in the graphic design than the Photoshop at the moment, because it's a time of change. A lot of people are adapting, they're doing different things, they're releasing new products. So there's a lot of opportunity there for, design for print and web, marketing materials for all of that. So I'd say probably that.
Fantastic. Adapting to change. Perfect. Keith, what's your big opportunity next year?
Big opportunity has to be Brexit or after Brexit. And if I said in everybody in the meeting at the moment, put your hand up if you know what UK GDPR is, I guess most people would say, I don't know. So that to me is the big opportunity next year. Fantastic.
And Lorna, for yourself?
Always has been, but even more so going into next year is the NHS. The NHS is brilliant, as we know, for life-threatening, critical, COVID, many things. But sadly, it's under so much pressure that waiting lists are looking to and whether they're saying now that it's going to take 4 years for it to recover to what it was pre-COVID, which, to be fair, wasn't great to begin with. So, yeah, the NHS.
NHS and shoring up and backing up people's healthcare options for that. Excellent. Well, that brings us to the end of the scripted questions. I'm going to let people in, and then they can ask your questions of yourself.